Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 18 of In the Green Room. Apparently, we're not in the green room because of the I know people have been sort of asking us, when can you get it done? But we've got there today with this virtual version, so hopefully it works. And our guest today is the president of the club, John Davis. John, how are you, mate?
G'day. Very happy to be here.
Great to have you on, mate.
I tell you, Pugger, I don't really like looking at myself this close.
Yeah, you've got to sit back a bit, don't you? It's a bit...
a little too close.
From work, so everyone in here is trying to make me laugh behind the camera.
Are they? Right, okay. So, what have you been up to, Johnny? How you been?
I'm well, thanks. Well, all locked down like everyone is, but it's been pretty busy between green things and some other interests I've got. So,
yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
What about you, James?
Mate, we've been busier than ever with work. We've had to put more guys on. I still haven't had a drink. I'm up to 5 weeks now, so I'm still on the waters.
Very good.
I was just about to say cheers, but there you
go. I'm sober, John. Sorry.
Yeah, I've got the wife bringing me back a 6-pack of shitty pale on the way back from delivering a few meals.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah.
Your wife's nice to you. My wife did a blackhead peel, and as you can see, it's ripped all the skin off my nose.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah. I've got Rudolph.
Yeah, right. Hey, Johnny, so tell us what's we've been extended till the 10th of September, so can you tell us what's going on with the comp?
No. It's not off.
It's not off.
No, but I think there's a very, very small window which is probably closing as we speak, and there's been lots of talk today around it. So had a call from the president of the NHRU this morning around just what was happening. They've received some guidance out of New South Wales Country Rugby to the effect that there are various return to play guidelines been applied, which basically would require for a return to play where after a shutdown of, I think we've had maybe 7 weeks off. By the time the lockdown finishes, if it does finish on the 10th, would require us maybe 2 or 3 weeks of preparation, which would probably put us out of contention to get a final series done. So that's sort of breaking news in a way. But one of the end stop points is that they've got number 2 booked until the 25th of September, as I understand it.
Yep.
So if it were to go over that date into early October as a possibility, it would mean another venue. And I don't think that's been organised yet. That's not to say it couldn't happen, but as I say, the window is closing all the time, and whether it's a 1 plays 3 and a 2 plays 4 in a final, or it's 1 versus 2 only over 1 week, there's no real decision being taken on that.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a week by week thing, isn't it? No one knows what's going to be happening.
No
scenarios, but who knows? What's going to happen.
It's a day by day and week by week thing, and I suppose Jamie and the players are very keen to keep it open, and we're certainly supporting that. They've had a great season. We've got terrific positions with P1s ahead. P2s are second, P3s are winning. It's a season we like to finish.
On top as well. Don't forget.
Fourths are winning.
Yeah.
And so if it was to just be the end of the season and everything was to be finished, would they just, whoever finished on what position in the ladder would be the finish of the season, where they ended up?
You'd imagine after playing 16 or 17 rounds, whatever it is, they'd have to award something, wouldn't they? Like a minor premiership.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a Pyrrhic victory, isn't it? It's not as satisfying as you would have expected, going into round 17 or 18 being ahead. You back yourself to get up, but it's just another one of those seasons. It was better than last year.
Well, yeah, at least we got some rugby in.
Sure did.
If it's not going to be at number 2, is Townsend an option to host the grand final if it goes beyond the end of September?
I'd imagine if we weren't in it, it would be.
Oh, right. So even if we were
Do you
in
think
it,
we get a home game for a grand final? I don't know.
Well, yeah,
That'd be very generous.
yeah, it would be.
But look, I don't know what's available. I haven't really thought about it. I think the ground would probably be available early October. But
Yeah.
you know, I think when it's all said and done, the likelihood is that we may not come out of lockdown, and even if we do, is community sport going to get a run anyway? And you'd have to say the chances of that are pretty slim.
Yeah.
Given what's happening in the rest of the state, it's hard to imagine that community sport will be full bore in the Hunter and with what's going on, in Dubbo and other places at the moment. So, yeah.
I can't imagine that the players would have been rigorously training fitness in the off season while we've been.
I believe they have been. That's what they're saying. In groups of 2.
Yeah.
The grand final is a bunch of overweight people that can't play.
That's the social fours.
Yeah, they're training. They're in good shape all year. They're ready to play any day of the week, those guys. Yeah.
Hey, John, before we came onto this call, I was watching the 1979 grand final on YouTube.
Well, I pity you.
That sort of
it was a shocker.
Well, talk us through what happened at the kickoff there.
I just think there was a lot of emotion, Jonesy, and it sort of overflowed a bit. Johnny White got a little bit testy with one of the Waratah forwards and sort of broke out a little bit, but it settled itself down. It wasn't a great match. There was a lot of errors and dropped ball, and when you look at it, it's quite different to look at it after all those years.
Yeah. Is the Waratahs the team that you guys have had a bunch of a rivalry with throughout that season, or those years leading up to that?
Did we have? Sorry, what was the question?
Was the Waratahs the team that you guys have had a bit of rivalry with leading up?
Certainly. Yeah, we were pretty close all through the season. I think they were a younger team than we were, generally speaking. We had a little bit more maturity and a bit more experience, but they were a good young bunch of players. People like Tony Munro was there and others.
Oh, okay. And what about the scoreline at the end?
Yeah. It's a funny feeling playing a draw.
Yeah, I remember third grade did it a couple of years ago where they ended up in a draw situation.
Yeah, and they didn't go extra time. It's a pretty flat feeling, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, you didn't replay it? Did they have a replay?
No.
No?
Just declared joint finalists, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, right. I've been, Denzo actually sent me a whole heap of photos, and I've been started to post them online on the Greens Instagram and Facebook last night, a few of the old team photos. I think I posted the 79. Was that the joint club champions? Was that year?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
It was 9-all.
What was that, Jones?
It was 9-all in the final with them and Waratah.
Yeah, right. I can't believe they didn't replay it.
No, and there was no rules around extra time, I don't think, as it turned out at the time as well. So it just ended. So
yeah.
It's a pretty flat feeling.
How old were you?
I would have been 29 then. Yeah. I'd been away and come back by then to back home. I'd been in Sydney for a while. I'd travel overseas on the hippie trail for a couple of years after I finished rugby in Sydney, and then lobbed back into town looking for a job and started playing with the Greens again. Yeah. And
that was your first season back in '79?
I think it was probably 78. Might have been the first season. Yeah. I was around for a long time there, but I was coming in and out all the time. I must have had 3 or 4 retirements and 3 or 4 returns. You know what it's like, hard to get it out of your blood. And I guess I was 38 or 39 before I gave it up. I was just still finding trouble replacing rugby. I really loved it.
Yeah. What about your time in Sydney? Who'd you play for down there?
That was early early 70s, probably from 71 through 75. I was at Randwick. I ended up there about halfway through 75, and that's when I went overseas. But took me a couple of years to get into first grade. Got into first grade in 73 and played 73, 4 and part of 75. I started in play on fifths at Randwick in 71, which was a bit of a blow to the ego. I was told to keep sticking around and might make it one day, and ended up in second grade the next year and first grade the year after, which was great. I learned a lot down there.
Yeah.
It was a great experience. Yeah.
You win any premierships down there?
Yeah, we won in 73 and 74. So 73 was the big year because that was my first year in first grade, and I played most of that season.
Who did you play with? Who were some of the notable guys that you played with?
It was an interesting team. It was a bunch of no-name forwards, but a lot of good backs. So Russell Fairfax was a fullback, playing for the Wallabies. John Cole was a Wallaby at the time in the centre.
Yeah.
John Byrne was a 5'8" who played for the Wallabies. So it was a pretty good team, good back line, scored a lot of points, great wingers.
Yeah.
I think Terry Ryan, who was the winger that year, set the club record for tries. He was a great finisher. We worked on the basis that if we just got about 30 or 40% of the ball, we could win with that back line. And often did. Yeah.
Sort of outscore your opponents, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Russell Fairfax went on to coach East.
Went on to play league with East.
He played league with East. Yeah. Right. How did you actually before that? How did you become a Green? What, were you born in Merewether?
So the whole family moved into Merewether about 1960. Takes you back a bit. So I was 10, and we moved into a new home in Rowan Street, which is the old subdivision, which was the extension of Rowan Street before they turned it into a crescent up there at Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no Gibbs brothers, of course.
Yeah.
That was just a sort of remnant bush with rabbits and a pond, and we were the first house in that new subdivision.
Yeah.
Everyone in those days played junior rugby league with South, and I ended up at the Junction School as an under 10 playing with South. I played there, until under 14s, and then the whole team basically went across to play under 16s for Carlton's.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, that would have been 65, I suppose, 66, something like that. And a lot of the players that came through in the 70s were part of that team. People like my cousin, Peter Prince, Stan Barrett, David Park, Johnny Trevilian, all of those guys who were, part of those winning teams in the early 70s were part of that little early Greens under 16s that was coached by Charlie Doherty, who was a 336 game player at the time. We loved playing with Charlie. He was great.
And do you still see these guys around?
Oh yeah, we do. And those guys, Stan just lives across the road. David Park's been working with the old boys from time to time. Princey's up the coast, Dorrigo, and but yeah, we've had it was a pretty tight group through school, local school, and we played a lot of league and union together because we played league at school and then played union on Saturday. And pretty close knit group that came across to the Greens.
And you all chose rugby? None of you went back to rugby league?
No one went back. No.
It must have been a tight group for the whole team to sort of just go, let's go.
Yeah, I think, we just liked Charlie. He approached a few of us at one stage and we'd watched him. We used to come down and watch the Greens go around from the old green room shed. And I think we just got a like for that scene. And we thought we'd give it a try. I mean, juniors were under 16s and under 18s at that time. There was nothing like what we see today.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were getting plenty of league at school, and we were just playing a different game on the weekend. So it was good.
That's a story we've heard a few times on the podcast.
You would.
A lot of guys playing for South and then coming down, watching the Greens players and coming over.
Yeah, well, Mick Gill told you the same story, I think.
Yeah. I've heard it from other people as well.
Yeah.
I'm an old South.
It was the customary path for kids in this suburb. There's no doubt about it. And
you've got to learn how to tackle somewhere.
Yeah, didn't rub off on me. Yeah. So they were good days. And Charlie was a great coach. And I think just we had so much fun with Charlie that all of us stuck around through 18s and that sort of thing. I got a chance to play some first grade when I was a 17-year-old, which got me interested in the club as well. I played with both my brothers at that stage, so that was pretty special too.
Did you all play first grade for a whole season at one point?
No. I played a fair bit with Steve, but I think Pete only played. We only played one game as the three of us on the paddock. Pete got a bad injury to his knee, which he never really recovered from. On Townsend one day. I think it was only one game, and the three of us were there together.
I'm trying to G up a Coffs rugby because I come from Coffs for the dads and lads comp.
Yeah.
And so I can play with all my brothers and my dad. There's four boys and my dad, so hopefully that's something we can say that we've done together.
Well, you could actually, what you could do, Jones, you could get a country team together for the dads and lads, like Willie Frost, and they're all Will's from up there, and you've got a couple of guys from Port Macquarie and stuff in the club.
Yeah, that's something to look into. Yeah,
you could do that.
I missed out on the day, but apparently it was awesome. Like the atmosphere was great, the crowd was huge. Like they had a big feed after it and stuff. I'd love to be involved with that. The dads and lads.
Yeah, and that was a good day. It was definitely a great day.
It was on a Sunday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I forget.
It was the Sunday after.
Yeah, it was the Sunday
after.
Was it the 15th of May, something like that?
Yeah, was it after the Singleton game? I think. After the Singleton bus trip.
Okay.
I don't know. I think so.
Seems a long way away.
It does seem a while. It does seem quite a while.
Oh, it was a great concept, and people loved it. It was great. Jockey did a magnificent job getting it organised. It was really good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Another thing that you've been touted with, John, is being able to get the new green room happening. Since I'd come to the club in 2012, people had spoken about it all the time. Oh, we're going to get a new green room, but it just sort of never eventuated. And so you're the one who's been sort of given you're the one who sort of got it going. What was that process like?
Well, I'd been working in Sydney for a long time, came back home, and whenever I came home, I'd go to the green room, and as much as, we've got so much attachment to it, every time I'd come back, I'd think, my God, it's still standing. And started having a few chats with various people around the options. And I think at that stage there was some proposal to maybe refurb the green room itself.
Yeah.
And the sort of costs to do that and what you ended up, even if you'd done it, just didn't sort of make sense because it didn't really give us the future we needed. So we sort of looked at a lot of options on different grounds and, whether we should do something on Empire or try to do something there or even Gibbs. Or we came back to thinking we could do something with an adaptation of the grandstand, the Clark stand. And out of that grew some plans which we developed, and there was a lot of getting people to accept the fact that we probably had to move on to have a sustainable future because it was just beyond its use-by date and not really economic to throw money at the old green room. And we went through a process of getting development consent and all that sort of stuff. Got a buy-in from the council to support that sort of project, and over a long period of time. I mean, it was a project that really started probably took 6 years to get to the point where we were building. So it gives you a bit of an idea about what was involved. I mean, obviously, Jamie was a large part of that and the development of the concept and, of course, the building of the concept. But I got to say the council were a great partner in it as well, because while we came up with the idea, they built the infrastructure and we fitted it out eventually, and it was I think it was a big win for the club, big win for the community, and it's the place where we've been playing for 90 years. It's hard to move away from that sort of connection, I think, and I think what we've got now is a long-term sustainable connection with the ground. And it's, there's a lot of sentiment attached to the green room, but, like we're a strong club with a great culture, and, what we can do is just move all that 100 metres across the field and start building some more memories and stories and culture of the future. But, we've got a sustainable sort of building, which, does a lot for us in terms of being able to look after a much bigger playing group and, to have some functions, do all those sort of things outside of pandemic lockdowns.
Yeah.
But, it was
was
a great project to be involved in. It was good.
Was there any thought of rebuilding on the original site?
No, because council was very much of the view that it wasn't about adding more sort of building assets to that ground, and that open space was limited anyway, that it is an oval within a Crown Lands park. And so, open recreational space, comes with a real value as well. And they had, at the end of the day, I suppose, one asset to build and maintain, which is a sort of significant thing for the future for them. And of course, the project did involve a refurbishment of all the change rooms and toilets and new showers and all the rest of it that would have been duplicated over the other side. So, we were adapting a pretty solid, structurally sound building with another level for that function room and refurbing the rest as an integrated facility with public toilets as well. So it sort of made sense. Yeah.
Oh, the facilities. I reckon it's.
Look, for a regional rugby club, we've got really good facilities, I think, and I think we've got to turn to sort of improving what we've got on Gibbs and improving what we can have at Empire as well. And there's some concepts around all of that. But I think so far as infrastructure is concerned, the club's in a really good place, and it's a very important foundation for having a club at all. Somewhere to meet, somewhere to celebrate. If you think about what a club like Lake Macquarie is trying to do with the assets or the lack of assets they've got, you understand the battle you would have. And thankfully we're not in that position.
Yeah, well, even you have social pause on there on a Friday night, and you have all the teams back upstairs.
Yeah.
And speaking to the guys from other clubs, guys from Hamo and Benny Emmett from Maitland and stuff, right? And everyone says how much it's just an amazing venue to watch footy at.
It is. It is really good. And I mean, it's so frustrating, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm just thinking back over 2019, 2020, and this season as well. Yeah. We've had so much disruption since April, I think it was, when we moved into the green room. There was some real bad wet weather. I think the leagueies played. We got shut down off there for 6 or 8 weeks. I think in 2019 we missed 4 home games. Right. I tell you, that's a lot of revenue.
Yeah.
Last year we got shut down, as you know, completely. We lost an enormous amount of revenue out of 8 or 9 home games. We couldn't really ask our sponsors to kick the tin. Add that to it. And, we've had some bad wet weather this season even, and we've just lost 2 home games, Singo and the Indigenous round against Nelson Bay. So I hate to, and we can't use our function room the way we'd like to. There's been cancellations out of that. It's, if you look at what we've foregone, it's been 3 pretty ordinary years in that sense. I'm just looking forward to getting some clear air on the other side and thinking about what we can do with that facility, in the years to come is really what it's about, because it's been a tough 3 years really to get it rolling. Although it's done very well for us, it's also been pretty frustrating, hasn't it? Not to get any rugby last year was, for the men's at least. So I'm still trouble getting over that. But
we're just going to get a few home games like we had against the Wanderers there to bring that revenue back up.
Yeah, well, we had a cracking good start, didn't we, to the season?
Yeah.
That was some day.
Yeah, that was awesome. That's something that we'll all remember that day.
That was great. And I think I liked the concept from the start when we came up with the idea of playing all the juniors, all the grades, and for a club cup, if you like. I think that's a great concept and something that will stick for the future. And our juniors, of course, did really well. They got us across the line before the seniors started, I think, actually. Yeah.
So the club's flying high at the moment, John. Do you think that we can roll that into next year? And will you be throwing your hat back in the ring to be the president of the senior club for next year?
That's a loaded question. First part? No. We're only scratching the surface, Jones. We're only scratching the surface.
We're only scratching the surface. I love it.
Yeah, we can go way beyond this.
Mate, we ask the hard-hitting questions on this podcast, Johnny.
I can see it. No, I guess the background I gave you is that there's so much more to achieve, I think, with the whole game day experience that has been a bit frustrating for for the first few seasons. I think, if we do get some clear air, we can get some great crowds and make Townsend, a destination for families to watch rugby and have a great day. I think that's a big thing for the club, and it's been supporting what's on the field. I think the players actually enjoy playing in front of a crowd. I know a lot of the guys have said, the Wanderers Day, which we kicked the season off, was a great experience, and it's on and off field stuff that have got to be working together. I think we had a really good start to that this year. I think we can take it a lot further. Really appreciated the sort of help that someone like Paul O'Rourke on the club board, CEO of the yacht club, knows how to run events, got a lot of good ideas. He's been fantastic, and Jenny Hawes has been great, as you know. The Ladies' Day was a magnificent promotion. There's lots of people on the committee, through the James Callow and Mick Edwards with the sponsor work. I mean, there's just so much great stuff being done. So I think we've still got, unfinished business and much more improvement to make. And I don't know. I don't think you were at the AGM last year, but I was saying then that I think, while the club's got fantastic foundations, infrastructure, juniors, great history, great success. There's so much more we can do to just keep building on those foundations and improving everything we do on and off the field, with player development, coach development, and recycling any of the revenues and profits we make back into the players and the people. I think, we've got a long way to go, Jonesy, and I think we're on a good, strong track. But it's there's still a lot of work to do and a lot of improvement to make. So far as I'm concerned, I've had a pretty significant birthday a year or two ago. So I don't see myself doing this job for a long time. I'll do it for as long as I have to get us on that path. And I'd probably go again if there's no one else who wants to do it. I put my hand up to do it on pretty short notice last year. So I've enjoyed it. It's been great. A lot about club in the process. And I come to understand how important it is as a community sort of set. people really enjoy the club and all it means. And I've only really come to sort of understand that since I've been on the committee for a couple of years and just understood how important it is locally. So yeah, it's a good position. There's plenty of people on the board who could do it, and others in the club who could do it. And I'm not trying to build a CV anymore. I keep saying, you know, those days are over. I'm here for enjoyment, and you know, I'm happy to help wherever. Doesn't matter what it is, but I'd like to keep some meaningful connection with the club for as long as it's working. And I've said to a few people around me, some young and strong people, that when they're ready, I'll be more than ready to hand over as well.
You've done a really good job, including getting the green room going and getting everything happening over the last couple of years. I know it's been quite a difficult time throughout COVID, but you have done a really good job, and I don't think many other people that in your position could have handled it as well as you have. So,
that's nice of you.
I'd just like to say you've done a really good job, mate.
Yeah,
it's been good fun, and I tell you what, there's amateur rugby club, entirely dependent on volunteers. It's just a nice place to be, and it works because so many people are prepared to give back to the club, and it's just I love that atmosphere, and I love working with people like that. It's really invigorating for me.
That's one of the good things about Merewether Carlton. There's no shortage of volunteers, so
we can always do with more, you know. Yeah. And look, I want to thank on behalf of the club. Let me thank you two guys for your 18 podcasts that you've put together.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
No, it's been really good, and I think one of the nice things that's happened this year is we've got that Gazette out a lot. There's been a lot of good information wherever I go. People saying they're really enjoying the stories, the player profiles. They're getting to know the coaches. They're getting some really good information flowing, and I think it's been a really good season for that aspect as well. And you play a big part in that, in introducing us to people and their stories. You know, it's been great.
Yeah, I think people in the club, the younger guys now, they want to hear the old stories from the guys that have played. You know,
yeah,
in the 80s and the 90s and 70s and beyond. You know, they're genuinely interested in everyone's story.
In the history,
yeah, which I think is really good. Like, you know, you get players that go to clubs and they just rock up, they play, and that's it.
Yeah.
I think at the moment there's no one within the club that's like that. Everyone's sort of really invested and really wants to know the history and
I think there's been a great attitude to the players, which I'm really chuffed about, really proud of. I mean, I can get down there on a game day pretty early, and you know, Amanda and I will be talking about what we've got to get done during the day. And the nice thing is that half or a good chunk of the first grade and second grade team are there setting up before I even get there.
Yeah,
I mean, how good is that? I just love that.
Yeah.
And these are good guys, you know, and they've got the club at heart, and they play for the club, you know.
Yeah,
I love it.
All right. Well, last question. Speaking of good guys, this one. Seeing as though you're a big fan of the podcast, you'd know this one. 3 blokes you could take on an end of season trip.
Oh my God!
Any era.
Any era. No, you know, I'd have to take. I have to take my brother Pete, because he's a life member.
Yeah.
And he's poured beer for everyone in the club for 40 years.
Yeah.
And still does. I'd have to take Steve, just to keep Pete in control and me in control. Probably have to take Dicko and my cousin Peter Prince as well.
Yeah.
They're real close, and you know, they're all great Greens men as well. I didn't mention Peter Prince earlier, did I? But he was, my age, but he played for country, you know, when it was full of Wallabies, and he was a lock and a flanker for the Greens, and a great footballer. So yeah, I've taken 5, haven't I? Really? But,
yeah, that's all right.
Including me. Can I take 5?
Yeah,
mate. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, you're the president. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, they're the guys I think I have to have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thanks, John. Thanks for coming on. I know it's a bit sort of disjointed doing it over the internet, but luckily, it has worked. Hopefully, it's worked. And Pugger's been able to record. So.
I hope Pugger recorded it after all that.
Yeah, no, it's recording.
That was just a good conversation.
We got a board meeting. We got a board meeting tonight too, so there'll be more of this crazy virtual stuff.
Did you guys see the board meeting for the Newcastle Council on Zoom? Did you see it? Robbo, the bloke that was on the
I know Robbo very well.
Oh, yeah. Alan,
did you see it, John?
No, I haven't.
He's in there, he's eating dinner and he's telling jokes and they're all there going, mate, come on.
I know Robbo.
I think we could do with a bit of that.
Yeah.
Oh, you would know him.
I know him very well through
he's a jockey, right?
Yeah, through the old man. Yeah.
Well, he's a TV personality, wasn't he, many years ago?
What's that, sorry?
He was a TV personality, wasn't
he? Yeah, he was. While he was still riding, he was on the footy show on that years ago, but he's a character. He's a good bloke. He's a good bloke. I like him.
Yeah, livens up the council chamber for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, boys, I've got to make a move. Right. Thanks so much.
Cheers.
Thanks for figuring it out.
I will. Thanks, guys. See ya.
See you later.